Hello, Warren. Now, I know what you're thinking. What does a 94-year-old guy from Omaha know about side hustles? Well, probably not as much as you'd like, but I do know a few things about businesses, and that's what a side hustle really is, a small business that you're trying to build alongside everything else you're doing. So let's talk about one of the most popular trends today, drop shipping. When I was young, the path was pretty straightforward. You got a job, you worked hard, you saved, and you retired with a pension. Today. That world doesn't exist anymore. Job security isn't what it used to be. Pensions are rare, and frankly, relying on one income stream in 2025 is like putting all your eggs in one basket and then sitting on that basket. So people are looking for other ways to make money, side hustles, gig work, online businesses. And I think that's smart. Not because you'll get rich overnight. You won't. But because it teaches you something valuable, how to create value for other people. A side hustle is just a business you run in your spare time. Could be freelancing. Could be selling products. Could be offering a service. The key word is business. It's not a lottery ticket. It's not gambling. It's building something that exchanges value for money. Now, the internet has changed the game entirely. When I started investing, if you wanted to start a business, you needed a storefront, inventory, employees, real overhead. Today, you can start a business from your kitchen table. That's remarkable. But here's the catch. Just because it's easier to start doesn't mean it's easier to succeed. In fact, I'd argue it's harder because everyone else can start just as easily. So let's talk about drop shipping. If you're not familiar, here's how it works. You set up an online store. You list products for sale. But you don't actually own those products. You don't stock them. You don't ship them. When someone buys from you, you forward that order to a supplier, usually overseas, and they ship it directly to your customer. You're the middleman. You make the difference between what you charged and what the supplier charged you. Simple, right? On paper, it looks fantastic. Low startup cost. No inventory risk. You can run it from anywhere. It sounds like what I call a capital light business, and I love capital light businesses. But let's dig a little deeper. I understand why people are attracted to drop shipping. First, you don't need much money to start, maybe a few $100s for a website and some advertising. Second, you're not sitting on inventory. If a product doesn't sell, you're not stuck with a garage full of stuff nobody wants. That's a real advantage. Third, it's scalable. If you find a product that works, you can sell more without worrying about storage or logistics. And fourth, this is the big one, it feels accessible. You don't need a business degree. You don't need connections. Just a laptop and some hustle. So I get it. For a young person looking to make extra money, dropshipping seems like a smart bet. But here's where we need to be honest. Dropshipping has some serious problems. Problem number one, you don't control the product. You've never seen it. You've never touched it. You're trusting a supplier halfway around the world to deliver quality. And when that supplier messes up, and they will, your customer is going to blame you, not them. I've always said, invest in businesses where you understand the product. If you can't inspect it, test it, or vouch for it, you're flying blind. Problem number two, the margins are thin. Everyone's doing this now. The competition is brutal. You're often competing on price alone, which means you're in a race to the bottom. Low margins mean you need high volume to make real money, and high volume means more customer complaints, more refunds, more headaches. Here's something most people don't think about, customer experience. When you dropship, your customers are waiting weeks for their orders. They're getting packages with Chinese labels and no branding. They feel tricked, and you know what happens when customers feel tricked. They don't come back. One of the most important principles in business is repeat customers. It's far cheaper to keep a customer than to find a new one. But with dropshipping, you're often just churning through one-time buyers. That's not a sustainable business model. I like businesses that build loyalty, businesses where customers come back year after year because they trust you. Dropshipping makes that very, very difficult. Now, does that mean dropshipping can't work? No, I don't believe in absolutes. But if I were going to evaluate a dropshipping business, if someone came to me and said, Warren, I want you to invest in my dropshipping store, here's what I'd look for. First, do you have a niche? Are you selling to a specific group of people with a specific problem? I don't want to hear, I sell trending products. That's not a business. That's a gamble. I want to hear, I sell ergonomic office equipment to remote workers who suffer from back pain. That's a real audience with a real need. Second, do you have brand? Is there something unique about your store that people remember? If you're just another Shopify site with generic products, irreplaceable. Third, are you adding value beyond the transaction? Are you creating content, educating your customers, building trust, or are you just slapping up ads and hoping people click? The best businesses solve problems. They make people's lives better. If you're not doing that, you're not building a real business. Let me give you an analogy. When I invested in Coca-Cola back in 1988, I wasn't buying it because the stock was cheap that week. I was buying it because Coca-Cola had something irreplaceable, a brand that people love. If every Coca-Cola plant burned down tomorrow, they could rebuild. Why? Because people would lend them money. People would want to work for them. People would still want to buy Coke. That's what I call a moat, a competitive advantage that protects you from competitors. Now ask yourself, does your dropshipping business have a moat? If your supplier cut you off tomorrow, could you rebuild? If a competitor copied your exact store, would customers still choose you? If the answer is no, you don't have a moat. You have a temporary advantage at best. And temporary advantages don't compound, they evaporate. Here's my advice if you want to try dropshipping. Treat it like a real business, not a side project. Don't just chase whatever's trending on TikTok this week. Don't jump from product to product, hoping one goes viral. Instead, pick something you're genuinely interested in, something you talk about for hours, something where you can add real value. Then commit to it for at least a year. Build an audience, create helpful content, establish trust. And here's the key, reinvest your profits. If you make $1,000, don't go buy a new gadget. Use that money to improve your business. Better website, better suppliers, better products. Compounding works in business, just like it works in investing. Small, consistent improvements over time create massive results. But you have to be patient, and most people aren't. You know, one of my favorite quotes is from Charlie Munger. He said, "The big money is not in the buying and selling, but in the waiting." That applies to side hustles too. Most people start a dropshipping store, run it for 2 months, don't see the results they wanted, and quit. They think, this doesn't work. But the problem isn't the model, it's their expectations. Building a business takes time. It takes trial and error. It takes persistence. If you're not willing to put in a year of solid effort, disciplined effort, then don't bother starting. Go get a part-time job instead. At least you'll know exactly what you're getting paid. Now, I want to address something important, ethics. I've seen some dropshipping businesses that frankly, I wouldn't want my name anywhere near. They sell cheap knockoffs. They mislead customers with fake scarcity. They use manipulative advertising. And sure, maybe they make money in the short term, but they're building their business on sand. I've always believed that reputation is everything. It takes 20 years to build and 5 minutes to ruin. So if you're going to do this, do it with integrity. Sell products you'd be proud to give to your own family. Be honest in your advertising. Treat your customers the way you'd want to be treated. Because in the long run, the businesses that win are the ones people trust. And trust isn't something you can dropship from China. Here's what I'd suggest if you're serious about building an online business. Start with dropshipping if you must. It's a low-risk way to test ideas. But don't stay there. Once you figure out what sells, once you've validated demand, move upstream, find better suppliers, consider holding inventory, build relationships with manufacturers. Eventually, create your own products, design something unique, build a brand people remember. That's when you transition from being a middleman to being a real business owner. And that's when the economics get interesting. Because now you control quality, you control margins, you control the customer experience. Now you have something worth investing in. You know, people always ask me, Warren, what's the best investment I can make? And my answer is always the same. Invest in yourself. Learn skills, build knowledge, develop expertise. A side hustle, like dropshipping, can teach you valuable lessons about marketing, sales, customer service, and business operations. But only if you approach it as a learning experience, not a get-rich-quick scheme. The real value isn't the money you make in your first year. It's the skills you develop and the person you become. Because those skills compound, they transfer to other businesses. They make you more valuable in the job market. That's an investment that pays dividends forever. So would I personally start a dropshipping business today? Probably not, but I'm 94 years old, and I prefer businesses I can understand deeply. The businesses with strong fundamentals, loyal customers, and durable competitive advantages. Dropshipping, as it's commonly practiced, doesn't check those boxes. But does that mean you shouldn't try it? Not necessarily. If you're young, if you're willing to learn, if you're approaching it with realistic expectations and a long-term mindset, then go ahead, test it, learn from it. Just remember, the goal isn't to make a quick buck. The goal is to build something valuable, something that solves problems, something that serves customers, something that lasts. Do that, and the money will follow. Here's the thing about side hustles. They're a means to an end, not the end itself. The real goal is financial independence, the ability to make choices, to not worry about money, to live life on your terms. Dropshipping might help you get there, or it might not. But what will definitely help is developing good financial habits, saving consistently, investing wisely, living below your means, and continuously improving your skills. Those principles worked in 1950. They worked in 2000. They'll work in 2025. The tactics change. The fundamentals don't. Before I go, let me leave you with this. Don't chase trends. Build something real. Don't look for shortcuts. Put in the work. Don't sacrifice integrity for profit. Your reputation is your most valuable asset. And remember, getting rich slowly is still getting rich. I've spent 70 years investing, and the people who've done the best aren't the ones who got lucky once. They're the ones who showed up every day, made good decisions, stayed patient, and let compounding do its magic. That's the secret, and it's not really a secret at all. Alright, that's it for today. Next time, we'll talk about affiliate marketing and why some people confuse it with investing. Spoiler, it's not investing, but it might be a smarter business model than drop shipping if you do it right. Until then, stay curious, stay patient, and remember, the best investment you can make is in yourself. Take care.